Good afternoon, Americans. This is Lucky talking at you. Today I'm going to give you a very simple sermon called Armageddon and Aliens. Now that's interesting, huh? So I'm going to tell you what the problem is with America today um, and a little bit of religious information that goes with that. For example, religion and politics are supposed to be together. We should be in church discussing these matters. But because there was a tax exempt option for churches that many took back in the late 60s, I believe it was around 69, churches began becoming nonprofits. And there was a lot of rules, different rules that came with that. Well, for one, they could not support or go against any candidate in writing, verbally, or financially. So we got a different thing. We basically got a lot of churches that went silent, and religious people who went silent. And what I'm gonna say as far as the um, sermon goes is let's remember that what the Bible says: the love of money is the root of all types of evil. And this is pretty much where we went through the pretty much the 70s. We had a good country after World War II. That lasted through the 40s, 50s, 60s, and by the time it got to the 70s, it was kind of like the Roaring 20s. It was people were having too much fun. We had hippies, and we were ending the Vietnam War. We were moving in the right direction. But again, there were people who were chasing money, and they just wanted to make a faster buck, an easier buck, a quicker buck. Okay? So they were really just in love with money and making money. So what happened in the 70s, a lot of big cities experienced factories closing and going overseas. Now, when I was a child, I remember we were in a town of about 11,000 people. It had at one time several factories in the town. Uh, People could literally walk to their work and make really, really good money. Enough that you could afford to buy a house and uh, have a stay-at-home mom take care of the 2, 3 kids. Uh, it wasn't that difficult back then. Well, when the 80s came, this idea, this free trade, open border idea that was actually put forth originally by the Libertarian Party in the early 70s, 1971. Let's give them credit for what they did. Uh, they said free trade's great, and the open border would be fantastic. Okay, Reagan came along in 1980, and he signed the Republicans up with this idea: free trade. We're going to have free trade. They may have increased immigration somewhat at that time, but it was Clinton that really did the big move. Uh, by the time the 90s got here, Ross Perot was warning us about uh, free trade and open borders. And Bill Clinton jumped in, and he won, and he signed the Democrats up for this same idea: free trade, displace American workers, and put the factories over in a foreign country. Nobody thought about or cared about what's going to happen to the people. So Bill Clinton signed up for this new free trade, this NAFTA, and he went ahead a little further, and he opened the border up. In the early 90s to the mid 90s, this is when we saw a tremendous amount of immigrants pour into a city of 11,000 people. Within a couple of years, there's 400 or 500 fresh immigrants working at the turkey plant. So we know what happened. Frank Perdue called the congressman and, told him what he needed. And our politicians in both parties uh, gave him just what they needed. Money spoke. Money, money speaks loud, and politicians listen. So what we had was just a constant chase for cheaper labor, and it still goes on today. When the Mexicans wouldn't work in Indiana, they wanted higher wages, or they went out and started their own business, and Purdue was back to square one again. Trump gave them Haitians with H-1B visa work permits that also included cash aid, food stamps, housing vouchers, the whole package. That was Donald Trump closing the border. He said, make them legal. Yeah, he did. If you think for a moment that Joe Biden or Donald Trump is going to fix this country, you're sadly mistaken. They work for the same group of people. The two parties work for BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. And these guys write big spending bills that benefit themselves. And this is why we're in such a tough time financially in America. So basically, what I'm telling you about the love of money, we know that, right? Root of all evil. That's where we're at. We also know that Armageddon, you remember Armageddon? Not the movie with Bruce Willis, but Armageddon, the final battle between good and evil. We've been in it now for about 50 years. The biggest problem I see is that Christians and Americans have never united and fired a shot back. All we've been doing is just taking it up for 50 years. We watch a factory close. We complain about it with our friends. We talk to some of our local politicians. There's nothing we can do. It's done. Move on. Next factory closes, we bitch again. Pretty soon, we're all scrapping for a living. People 55, 60, 70 years old delivering pizzas or working at Walmart. People deserve much better than this and would have better than this if we had a lot of good paying jobs. So, what's my point? Armageddon, right? Final battle. We haven't even fired a shot yet. Okay, if you think we can fix this, if you believe we can fix it, and we can fix it, it's really, really simple to fix it. It's nothing but a bunch of hard work. Okay, if Americans and Christians will get off their butts and unite and forget about your parties, forget about Biden, forget about Trump, you forget about those parties and forget about voting. Why don't you become, like me, an independent non-voter who could criticize the whole system? The only thing we need in this country to make it work is hardcore, heavy-duty election reform. And we're not going to get that from these two parties. Nobody in the parties are even talking about this. There's a lot of little small groups now that are saying exactly this: represent us, independent voter, radical independent. I mean, there's a lot, no labels, forward party, but they're getting bought out. These are just small nonprofits that are so easy to take over, and they're being taken over. So, if you want to unite and you feel that you were put on this earth at this time to do something that Jesus would want us to do, do you think Jesus would be proud of all this hatred and fighting? And do you think Jesus would vote for Trump? Come on. He's smarter than that. Let's get together. Let's unite. Let's forget about these parties and let's do something. This Aquarius project that puts out sermons is going to be a network. We will have sermons like this. We will also have independent news. We will have a show of mine, my favorite, which will be a live on the road show called Sex, Religion, and Politics, where we discuss anything openly. Also, I'll have a show called Lucky's Tree Service. It's going to be a show about everything. It's going to teach you how to make money in this world and how to view things. because, again, I don't hear my opinion too much on, actually too much, never heard my opinion in the news media or on the internet. That's why I know I'm on the right track. Okay, so here's what we need to do. Let's get together. Let's unite. You guys watch my other video because we've got a plan. Okay, our plan is we're going to take a load of horse crap or cow crap uh, up to Sacramento and dump it and film it and put it on the internet. Then we're going to get another load and we're going to take it to Indianapolis, Indiana, the other state that I'm from. I consider myself a Hoosier Californian. We're going to dump a load in Indianapolis on the State House. Then we're going to load up one more time. We're going to head down to Washington, D.C. with our filming permits and everything proper. And we're going to drop a load of crap in Washington, D.C. We're going to film it, we're going to put it on the internet and see what happens. All right? If you want to be a part of this, research. Look at my other videos. Not asking for a donation. What's more interesting is I'm asking for business partners. We're going to take this show and this network and all of its shows, the Aquarius Project. We're going to make a lot of money off of this while we fix America. We need a fad. I think we've got it. We need a superhero. I'll play the part. And we need to get fixed in America. So if you believe in God and you feel Jesus calling you, you better get off your butt. Do you want Jesus to catch you on your ass doing nothing after you've watched this video? I'm talking about $1. $1 from everybody that sees this video and you become an investor. So let's do it together. Watch my other videos and you'll see. You'll hear some of my different views. Thank you so much. God bless, and I'll see you soon.